collecting cards rules. No, I don't mean like that. I mean, here are some collecting cards rules. Happy hobby, I'm David Gonos back again. If you are a collector on a limited budget, trying to get some sports cards in your collection, but you don't have a ton of money, these are the videos for you. Make sure you subscribe because that's what I'm about. Today we're talking about 9 simple rules for collecting cards on a limited budget. It's exactly what I was just talking about. So the first one you want to think about, it's an easy one. Don't spend more than you can afford. That's a pretty easy one, but sadly, it's one you have to think about. Because if you're trying to collect too many cards at too high a price, it's not going to be fun anymore. Now you're going to be in debt, and it's just not as fun. Number 2, if you do get into debt, don't be afraid to sell something so you can fund a purchase of something else or to pay for a previous purchase. Just think of it as trading. You traded this card to get this card. You traded this card in a little cash to get this card, or vice versa. Don't let yourself get scammed. It's an easy one to say, but really, try not to let yourself get into too many opportunities where you could get scammed. So if you see something that looks like it's too good to be true, guess what? It's too good to be true. If you do end up getting scammed, if you do end up getting burned, consider it just a costly lesson, and now you'll be much more cautious for the next time something like that comes around. Say it's with an eBay purchase. For instance, I bought a second-year Mike Trout card on eBay. When I pulled it out to look at it, it had a big gouge on it. So I went back on eBay and looked at the picture, and you couldn't see that gouge. It was kind of had a reflection just right, so you couldn't see it. So they got me. That was on me. So I emailed the guy, let him know I wasn't happy about it. He said it didn't have any damage on his. I said, all right, well, I'll leave something in the feedback, but I'm not happy about it. Immediately, he changed his mind, refunded my money, and I sent him the card back. It's not going to happen like that every time, but be cautious, be diligent, try not to get scammed. My number 4 rule is don't buy into box breaks and don't buy boxes of cards trying to get the cards you want, especially if they're chase cards. You're most likely not going to get them. The odds are very, very much against you, especially when you think about breaks. Say it's a baseball break, 30 teams, and you get a random break, so it's 1 in 30 that you're going to get the team you want, and then add in the odds of that card that you want or those cards that you want being among the ones that get opened. Say if it's basketball and you get one of those 30 teams. Now you're hoping for, there's so few cards in basketball packs. Now you're hoping for one of those few cards to be the card you're looking for. So really buy into breaks just for fun. Do that just as a fun thing. And maybe you hit something and have a good time, and it's a community thing. It is a lot of fun, but don't buy into breaks trying to build your collection to find those specific cards, because that's going to be tough. Just buy singles when you're looking for specific guys. It's not as fun, but you'll end up with the cards you want. If you send cards in to get graded, make sure you're going to be happy with that card if it comes back and it's not a 10. There's been many times when I've sent cards in and got them back, and it hasn't been the grade I hoped for or expected, and you have to live with it. Now you got this card I have a Nolan Ryan 5 from 1982. I'm very not happy with. I did not look over the card good enough. I should have known better. Sent in, got it graded. Now I'm stuck with a 5 slab from 1982. I'm not happy about that. So make sure when you send it in, you think to yourself, if it's not a 10, am I still going to be happy with this? If this is a 9, am I still proud of this card? Am I going to display it? What am I going to do if it's not what I expected? Am I going to sell it? Do I have a means to move it? If not, then don't get it graded. Just put it in a nice one touch and put that up in your display or on your desk or something. Try to buy singles of cards and even boxes of cards in the off season for that sport. So for like baseball, it'd be like December, January for baseball if you want to get some singles of guys. Usually it dips right around then because people are thinking about other sports. Collectors are definitely thinking about other sports and other players. For football, it'd be like a larger window, like maybe March to June. Outside of when the NFL draft happens, nobody's really focusing on their football card collection as much. In basketball season, August and September are great times to jump in and try to get some singles you've been trying to get. My number 7 rule, buy cards you like. Don't buy cards that everyone else likes. Like, look at the card. If that's a card you like, for instance, I like Donruss Optic way more than I like Prism. So I try to get more Donruss Optic cards than I do Prism cards, even though the Prism ones are usually a little more expensive, usually a little more sought after. But I like the look of the rated rookie on Donruss Optic. I really like those a lot. So just make sure you do that. Look for the cards you like the most. Get those. You'll be happier with those cards than you will if you get cards of other sets or other players you're not really that crazy about, but you just hear the hype and so you figure you got to get one of those. Don't do that. Get the ones you like, get the ones you believe in. And the same thing goes for players. Buy the cards of players you believe in, players you like, players you think are going to do better, maybe if they rise in value or just because you like the player. Get those. Don't get the ones that everybody's hyping up and you don't know anything about. Or do the research on the players you don't know anything about. And then now you will know something about them. And if you like them, then grab them. Something else I like to do, my 8th rule is make a list of the cards you want to get. These are the cards you can realistically get. Do it for each sport. Do I want this and am I going to try and get this in a 10, which is going to be super costly, or am I happy if I get this in a 9, whatever it is, whichever grading company it is? Do I want it just raw? Is it just a card that I just want for my own personal collection, just stash away because I love that player, I love that team? But be realistic with the cards you're trying to get. Like, for instance, I know I probably will never own a rookie Dr. J. It's probably not. It's probably outside of my limited budget limit. But a second year Dr. J I might be able to get, so that could be in my list. And then if I come across a great deal for a card that's not on my list, then I can make some adjustments there. But that brings me to my 9th and final rule for collecting on a limited budget. Don't try to collect everything. I've tried. Honest. You can ask my wife. I've tried to buy all of them. It just gets too crazy. You're trying to collect some of these cards, then the next set comes out, and now all of a sudden you're over here, you got to try and get some of these cards, you want to get this guy, you want to get this downtown, you want to get this, kaboom, it just gets crazy. Just try to focus your collection. Remember, you have the rest of your life to collect. You have years and years and years. Think about in the 90s, you have all those cards that you wanted. In the early 90s, the Fleer Rookie Sensations, I love those sets. Those are the big deal when I was collecting in the early 90s. And so now I can go back and I say, I want that one Frank Thomas Rookie Sensation, 1992 Fleer Rookie Sensation. I want it. Now I can go back and get it. Same with now. Don't kill yourself to try and get cards right now. You can wait a little bit and get those cards eventually. But make a list so that you know these are cards eventually you want to add to your collection. So those are my 9 simple rules for collecting cards on a limited budget. Now, if you have some rules that you think might be good for our viewers, then drop them in the comments. I want to hear them. I want to read them. It might be good for me. I want to know. I need some more simple rules to live by, so shoot them in my comments section. And finally, another rule this is a bonus rule. This is a 10th rule, but it's bonus. It wasn't listed. It's a short print. Watch one of these videos over here about grading cards. That's definitely another simple rule for collecting cards you should live by.